Hello, Moonbeams. Welcome back to my channel, Mystic Moon School. You are here with Donna Cass, and we are here to jump into the week ahead with the moon signs and the aspects that she is making to both our personal planets and the outer planets. And this is a big, a super big week ahead. So if you are new here, you may want to press pause so you can grab a journal and something delicious to drink and sit down so that you can map out your week ahead. And if you are returning to this podcast, thank you so much. All are welcome here, and I am so deeply grateful for your presence, your energy, your time. And if you would please like the video, subscribe to this channel. You can even hit the little bell icon. That way you will get notifications when these podcasts are now live. And if you could leave a comment, if anything has resonated for you at all, it really does help the channel to be seen more on YouTube and grow. And so that others who could really be supported by this information can find it. So thank you again for being here. I'm going to jump right in because we have so much to discuss in this video for this week. And it's big, okay? It is big energies. And there are several different things that I really want to touch upon. And so it is a lot of information. I will say that, but I feel it's so super important. And I have a feeling that this podcast is really going to be quite transformative for so many out there listening. And so before I get into the moon energies and where she's going to be traveling this week, and then also we're having the summer solstice, the Cancer solstice, and then that same evening, the full moon in Capricorn. That in and of itself, you guys, is huge. Okay, that doesn't happen, first of all, hardly ever, that we have the full moon on the same night as the summer solstice. And so that in and of itself, those energies are tremendous and they have great deep meaning for us. And it is tying into what I'm titling this week's podcast, which is Forgiving the Father and the Mother, Part 1. Okay? Because yes, this is happening this week for us, but that is also going to be playing out for us in July because we're having a new moon in Cancer and we are having the second of 2 Capricorn full moons at the end of July. Okay, so that is rare as well. And so these astrological energies have made me really sit up and take notice, and very clearly what has come in for me is that we are really healing through forgiveness our father and our mother wounds. And if you are a person on the planet, you have a mother wound, you have a father wound. You may have one or the other, you may have both. It is what we chose. It is what we chose at a soul level. We chose our parents. Our children choose us. And that is because we are an earth school. You've heard me say that before. And what does that really mean? We are on a healing journey in this life. We are on a healing journey. And so what is to heal if you don't have a wound, right? We all have the wounds. Ultimately, whatever your wounds are, it is a process of coming back to self, of healing self, of learning your true, authentic self, what your needs are, how to honor, love, and respect yourself. Because it is no one's job to do that but your own, right? And so when you learn what your emotional needs are, what your physical needs are, what your values are, When you learn boundaries, when you learn how to honor yourself first and foremost, and that's not in a negative, selfish way, that is in a healthy way, then, and you live from that place, then the people in your life will have no choice but to respect that and show up at that in that way. And if they do not, then likely they're not going to be in your life. And so it always begins with us, right? Okay, so there is a background energy that I want to share with you all. Sorry, the train is passing. Sorry for that. And this is the myth of Sedna. Now, as we are all growing and expanding in our consciousness, astrologers are no different. And so we are moving even beyond our solar system and the energies from the planets in our solar system. We are moving further and further out. And we are exploring the myths and the stories and the meaning behind the asteroids, the dwarf planets that are way beyond our solar system. And one of those is Sedna. And she is so important to us right now because in the last couple of months, she has ended an 11-year orbit in the sign of Taurus and moved into the sign of Gemini. And I've been talking about Gemini, right? Because Jupiter just moved into Gemini last month and will be there for a year. Sedna will be in Gemini for the next about 11,000 years. So certainly for all of our lifetimes. And I'm going to share with you briefly what her myth is and why she is relevant for us today and especially this week and next month in particular. So I'm going to begin with her myth and then I'm going to get into how this is all playing out for us this week. Sedna was this dwarf planet. She was named Sedna after the Inuit goddess of the sea, but she wasn't always the goddess of the sea. She was the chieftain's daughter, and she was to be married off to someone from another tribe, and this was her father's decision, and this is not what Sedna wanted. She did not want that for her life. And she really pushed back with her father, and her father was very angry about this. And as the myth goes, the two of them, father and daughter, are in a boat, a small boat, out on the sea, and a storm begins. A storm begins moving in and becomes very, very strong. And out of fear for his own life, and his anger towards his daughter, he pushes her out of the boat. And Sedna grabs on as she's being pushed out. She grabs on to the edge of the boat with her hands, holding on for dear life as this storm is raging all around her. Within her father, right? The anger, the fear that is raging within him. And she is holding on for dear life to the edge of the boat. This is representing her life, the path that her father wanted for her, and she is being thrown from it. And even though she didn't want it to begin with, she's still clinging on to it. Can we relate to that? We cling to what is familiar to us, even though we know it is no longer our path. We cling out of fear. We cling out of fear of change. That is what Sedna was doing. But her father was not going to allow her to cling any longer, and he severed her fingers from the edge of the boat. And so both Sedna and her fingers fell into the sea. And slowly they were going deeper and deeper into the sea. And as Sedna was going deeper, her fingers The severed fingers were transforming. They were becoming the seals and the dolphins and the whales, the creatures, excuse me, that live in the sea. And they were supporting her. They were becoming her friends, her community, and she was becoming their caretaker, but also their companion. She was dissolving that sense of self, that path and trajectory that she didn't even want to pursue, right, in that life above the sea. And that was dissolving as she was going deeper into her true, authentic self. And so when she was finally rejected, right, by her own father, she was able to leave that life behind, leave that persona behind, and become who she was meant to be. And so maybe you've heard this phrase before, that rejection is just a redirection. And that is a really powerful phrase to write down. I remind myself of that often because, we all face rejection, right? Different ways and from different people, places, situations in life. And when you can see it from that perspective, that really that seeming rejection is just a redirection to keep you on your path, your true path. Boy, oh boy, does that shift something in you. Very empowering feeling. And so this dissolution of self is on tap for all of us this week. This healing of the father wound, the rejection. And I will get into the mother in just a moment, but that is the background energy that is here certainly for all of us listening for our entire lifetimes. But now we are being asked with the summer solstice in Cancer, and that very same night, the full moon, release, right? Dissolve, release, illuminate something new that you have not seen before in the sign of Capricorn on a very personal level, which is what I deal with here on this podcast. Yes, these things are playing out on the world stage, no doubt, but it begins with us. It begins with us on an individual level. That is what the moon is all about. That is why I focus on her here in all of my work, in Moon School, in my readings, and on this podcast, because it begins with self first and foremost, and that is how we shift the collective. And so Sedna has ended this 11,000 year cycle and has begun this new one of dissolution of our beliefs, because she's in Gemini now. The mind, who we thought ourselves to be, right? Our beliefs about ourselves and our paths. Our beliefs of, well, I'm this person's daughter, and I'm this person's wife, and I'm this person's husband, and I'm this person's sister or brother. You know what? You're really none of those things if you are not your own true self first. And that is what we are being redirected towards now. Now I'm going to jump from that beautiful, exquisite myth to where the moon is the first half of this week. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, she hits her anaretic degree, the 29th degree of culmination, graduation, maybe even a crisis point, because she is in the sign of Scorpio. And if you've been here at all, studying with me, Scorpio is the sign of transformation, right? The sign of dissolution of old fears. soaring up into the eagle to get that higher perspective, and then finally into the phoenix, right? Where you have burnt down that old sense of self and you can soar into that magnificent firebird. You see how the myths mirror each other? It's so magnificent. It's so beautiful. Source has given us many different stories to tell the same messages again and again. The Phoenix myth is no different, really, truly, than the Sedna myth. It's all about dissolution of the old, fearful, small, misaligned self. But we must embrace the dissolution. We must embrace the fear going deep, whether it is into the sea or into the dark cave of the scorpion. We must look at our shadows. We must look at our wounds. And for most of us here on the planet, most of us, it is a father wound or a mother wound. I have shared with you here on this podcast that, my father wound was that my father had left when I was about 13. And what I didn't come to realize until much later on into my adulthood, that it wasn't really the geographical distance. It was the emotional distance, right? It was the rejection from an emotional place that was my core wound. And so what did I do? I kept perpetuating that rejection, that abandonment within myself. I abandoned myself when it came to relationships, when it came to my own inner masculine energy and having self-discipline, completing projects, so many ways. There are just so many ways, right, that I would abandon myself because that was my core wound. And once I truly saw that for what it was, and then began to see it from a higher perspective, that eagle's eye view of, wow, my soul chose this. My soul chose my father to play that role for me so that I could learn in this life, once and for all, how to stop rejecting myself, how to stop abandoning myself and come back to my true authentic self, my values, my love for myself, learning how to honor myself, what I deserve, what I need, what I value, how to set up healthy boundaries to protect all of that, right? And so when you can come to that place of understanding and seeing it through that lens, that we chose this, there's no victim energy here. I am not victim to that wounding from my own father. No, no, no. I'm empowered because I know on a soul level I chose this. Then I am transforming that Scorpio energy, that victim energy, that fearful energy of playing small into the eagle, and then finally into the phoenix. And so the beginning of this week with Mama Moon in Scorpio, Monday, Tuesday, and culminating at the 29th degree on Wednesday, she is asking us, where are our fears still running the show? What are we clinging to? Tap into that Sedna energy. What parts of your life are you clinging to, even though you know you don't even want it? It's not even who you truly are anymore. It's not even the path of your true authentic self, and you know it, but it is familiar. And it is a comfort zone. And so you're clinging because of that. The moon is asking you Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday, before we get to the solstice, before we get to the full moon of culmination, what can you let go of now? So if this beginning of this week is emotionally deep for you, if a lot is coming up, please lean in. Please lean into that. Please feel it all. Let the tears come. Let the rage come. Let whatever, even if it is victim energy, be in it for a little while. Have a pity party and then put a time limit on it, right? All parties have to end sometime. That includes the pity party. So go into all of it, feel all of it. Because come the solstice on Thursday and the full moon, which I am so excited to talk about these two in just a moment, that is rare as well, that they are coinciding together on the same night. And there is so much healing on tap for us. But we must first, Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday, really lean in to the fears, the clinging, the dissolution of self, okay? Whatever that is for you, allow it and lean into it. Okay, so I think that's all that I want to say about that. Oh, because it wasn't enough, Donna, right? Oh, no, there is something else I want to say about the beginning of the week. So on Monday, we have Venus and Mercury moving into Cancer, out of Gemini, into Cancer, out of the mind, into the feely feels. Okay, so we have the moon in Scorpio, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, water sign, all the feels, the fears, the transformation. And Venus, our planet of love, of relating, of relationships, of self-love, relationships with the women in our lives. She's moving into Cancer, water sign, all the feels. Nurturing oneself, Cancer. Cancer is the mother as well. Mercury, how we think, ruled by Gemini, by the way, right? Rules Gemini. Thinking, communication, learning, also in Cancer. Learn what your emotional needs are. So there's a ton of water energy. We're feeling it this week, especially Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. We are feeling. We're all in our feels at the beginning of the week. Now, that does not mean that everyone listening is going to be delving into these energies, right? It really does depend on your own personal chart and where these energies are showing up for you in your chart. So if this is resonating for you, right, in the expressions of release and dissolution, letting go of the clinging, then that is what is on tap for you to work with. For some of you, it may really be a feeling like you are wanting to nurture yourself this week, that you are wanting to lean in more towards the new beginnings, towards that eagle's eye view, towards forgiveness, which I'm going to get into in just a few moments. So just trust whatever point on the spectrum, wherever you are, that is right for you. Okay. So we have the moon in Scorpio, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. We have Venus and Mercury moving into Cancer on Monday. Lots of water. And so just trust whatever is coming up for you emotionally, that is exactly what you need to lean into, because when we move to Thursday, that is the big day of the week. Thursday is the summer solstice, and I would like to unpack that for you, but the same evening, the same night, we are having the Capricorn full moon. This does not happen, guys. This is rare that the full moon happens the same night, the exact same night as the summer solstice. Now, Cancer and Capricorn are on the same axis, and so this is going to happen, but I'm talking about within hours, okay? Like within, actually not within like the hour, okay? They're happening almost simultaneously, and that is really extraordinary. And so what I want to explain in terms of the astronomy, okay? So the solstice, right? The solstice, the summer solstice in the northern hemisphere, because in the southern hemisphere, they're experiencing the winter solstice. It's opposite. But in the northern hemisphere, June, for us this year, it's the 20th. It could be the 21st, 22nd. It really depends on the year. But for this year, it is June 20th. This Thursday, we are having the summer solstice. And that is when we have the longest day, the most sunlight of the whole year. And what that really means is that the Earth arrives at the point in its orbit where our North Pole is at the maximum tilt point towards the sun. And so that is why we get the most sunlight we're going to have the whole year on the summer solstice. And so when you look at that spiritually, right, what is that meaning? We are receiving the most light, the most enlightenment from the sun on this day. It is the most light that we are receiving the whole year on this day. And so we want to open to that. We want to open up to receive all of that light energy, all of that enlightenment energy that we can transform with. So what's interesting is that the sun is at its highest point in the sky from our perspective here on Earth. And with this Capricorn full moon, the moon is at its lowest point in our sky from our perspective here on Earth. And so the moon is going to look massive. This full moon is going to look huge, like the hugest supermoon we've ever seen. It is going to be quite a sight, and I really hope that you are able to get out on Thursday to view this magnificent full moon that is so low on the horizon. It is going to look so huge to us here in the northern hemisphere on Earth. And so we are having the axis play out of the mother and the father. The mother is Cancer, the father is Capricorn. And so with the Sedna myth, with the Scorpio energies, let us open to the enlightenment, the higher perspective of what our parents came here to teach us. Yes, through wounding, but we are our own healers, okay? That is why we came here to Earth School, to grow and evolve and to heal. And when each individual leans into that and begins to understand how they can heal their own wounds, you become more and more empowered. You become more sovereign, like Sedna. You become more fearless. The less time you have to drop into that victim energy, because you know yourself. You trust yourself. And you know no matter what comes your way, you can handle it. You can heal it. And so I want to just talk a little bit about the solstice energy, and then we will move into the full moon and Capricorn energies and how these are working for us. All on Thursday, June 20th. So the solstice energies, as I was saying, are the most light that we are able to receive on any given day in the whole year. And because it is in the sign of Cancer, Cancer represents the mother. And so if we can sit with any wounding that we may have received from our own mothers. And we can look at it from the perspective of she was doing the best that she knew based on her own lineage, her own mother wounds. And if we can really sit with and own that we are the ancestral curse breakers, we are the new ancestors who are here to heal the wounds of our mother and our mother before us and her mother before her, and so on and so forth. And we allow the sun's energy on Thursday to burn away all of the pain and the rejection and the abandonment, the lack of love and support that we have received on our lineage, on our mother line. And we can allow that to burn away. And we can send love and healing and forgiveness. We are healing that on a deep, deep level. A genetic level, I want to say, deep in your DNA. Because when you heal it within yourself, you are not going to perpetuate that. And let me be clear, you don't need to have children of your own to perpetuate it. You will bleed on everyone that you encounter, whatever your wounds are, whether you have children or not. And so you are putting that energy out into your friendships, your one-on-one romantic relationships, the people you work with, anyone you encounter. If you don't heal your wounds, right, you will bleed them out onto people that you interact with on a daily basis. Okay? Because if you don't heal your own wounds, you will be triggered by the most mundane, innocuous things from people. And then you will project out your wounding onto them. So let me be very clear about that. This is not about perpetuating it because now you're going to be a mother and you're going to pass that down to your children. Yes, of course, it can play out that way, but it doesn't have to. You can project your wounding onto anyone you encounter. And so, if you are here listening to this podcast, if you are someone who has been doing the work, if you are someone who is new to this and you are embarking on your healing journey, you're exactly where you need to be. You are not a victim to your parents. You are not a victim to any situation in your life. On a soul level, you chose this so that you could heal it. You are the new ancestor, right? You are changing the trajectory. By healing the wounds of the past, you will not perpetuate them going forward. And when every person begins on this healing journey, this is how we change humanity. This is how we change the world. By healing from within first and foremost. And so that is the energy of Cancer, the Cancer solstice. Being able to look into all the ways in which we did not get what we wanted and needed from our own mother and from her mother before her and from her mother before her. And we send love and we send healing and we send whatever we need emotionally that we did not receive. We give that to ourselves. I ask you to sit with that on the summer solstice and send so much love, so much healing and nurturing. That is a Cancer word, nurturing, right? Nurture yourself and your emotional needs. Journal, sit with that, write down what your inner child needed that she did not get. And if the tears come, allow them. Let them flow so that you may dissolve the old pains and the old woundings into that ocean, like Sedna did, so that you can come back to your true authentic self, your healed self, where you know now how you can give yourself that nurturing, how you can give yourself what you emotionally need. This is also playing out in tandem with the Capricorn full moon, and Capricorn represents the father. This axis of Cancer and Capricorn is the mother and the father, the home life and the public life, who you are at home and who you are out in the world. It is the mother within and the father within. It is the mother within your own life and the father within your own life. But it is also your inner mothering and your inner fathering energies. It is the feminine energies within you, because Cancer Capricorn is a feminine axis. And so you want to both lean into the nurturing and Capricorn, the self-discipline, okay? I want to talk about Capricorn energies for just a moment because, and I've shared this before, but I'm a Capricorn moon. And so when I first discovered that, I really didn't get it. It didn't resonate for me. And so I had to really sit with those energies. And in meditation one day, I finally saw it. I finally had the meaning of the Capricorn moon for me, and Capricorn as a whole, as a sign. And so Capricorn is the sea goat. She's a goat that has the front legs, but then also she has a beautiful mermaid tail. And so again, we are seeing bits of the Sedna myth come through here. I'm tying all of this together. And so, sorry for the ding, ding, dings of my phone, but the Capricorn energies are that she comes from the depths of the ocean. And so, Capricorn is an earth sign, yes, but because of that mermaid tail, I envisioned this beautiful sea goat coming up from the depths of the ocean, right? And the water always represents our emotions, our emotional body. And so Capricorn feels very deeply, very deeply. And when you think of the father, you know, for many of us, not all, certainly, but for many of us, we didn't necessarily have an emotional connection with the father, but that doesn't mean that your father doesn't feel deeply, right? It just may not come up on the surface that often. But I don't want to generalize because everyone's experience is different, and sometimes that can be the mother wound, right? That could be the mother wound. Cancer, the crab, has a hard shell, right? And so will not be vulnerable. And so these energies can play out on either end of this axis, Cancer or Capricorn. But back to Capricorn, you know, Capricorn, the sea goat, she comes up from the depths of the ocean, that deep emotional well, and she comes up onto the land. She's strong and grounded, and then she, you know, ascends the mountain towards her goals. And so, you know, that Capricorn energy, while we think of it as an earth sign, certainly, and it is, I have added on from my own interpretation the depth of emotion that she holds within her. And it is often what drives her towards her ambitions, a deep emotional place. And so, again, when we look at this axis, Cancer, the mother, Capricorn, the father, we all have something. Because you know what? The truth is, our parents are not perfect. They're human. I'm a parent. I'm not perfect. I'm human. And so for all of us, if we can just sit with those aspects that where we did not receive emotionally what we needed from our parents, and we can go a little bit higher, and we can tap into the energy of forgiveness, that's when the real true healing begins. But the truth is, you can't really get to forgiveness until you have a pity party, until you play victim for a little while, until you can then start to shift and move into seeing where your parents came from and what did they grow up with, or lack thereof, right? How their emotional needs were not met. And then that's when we move from Scorpio right into the eagle. The scorpion up higher into that eagle perspective. We can see things from a much higher viewpoint. We can see so much further beyond just being in that little dark cave where we're feeling all of our feels. And so when we can start to transcend and go higher and see not only what our parents had to live through and that they were doing the best that they could, but that we also chose them. We chose them as part of our core wounds and the lessons that we came here to heal. Then we start to move from victim into sovereign being, into empowerment. And then that's where we can start to tap into the energy of forgiveness. Okay? And forgiveness is a spectrum. Okay? You don't just forgive once and for all and it's done. Okay? Not when we're talking about our lineage, our ancestors, our parents, the wounding, the deep core wounds. It is a process. And so, but that being said, you have to reach a certain level, right, of healing to be ready for forgiveness. So just trust wherever you are on your journey. And if you're not there yet, that's okay. It's more than okay. You're exactly where you need to be. Just know that you can plant the seeds for forgiveness on Thursday at this solstice and full moon in Capricorn. If you're already there, if you've already been working with the energy of forgiveness, then double down on it. Because we're going to be working with it on Thursday and we're going to be working with it next month. Because next month we have the new moon in Cancer and we have our second full moon in Capricorn at 29 degrees, which I will obviously talk about next month. But why? Why are we working with this now? Because we're ready. We are ready to heal these core wounds once and for all. At least to the point where we have such self-awareness around it that it's just not going to perpetuate itself on an unconscious level where we're just dipping down into our wounds all the time and projecting that out, being triggered by others, right? No, we're here, we're ready. Wherever you are on this path, you're ready. Whether you're first beginning or you're well into it and you're at next level, wherever you are on this path, you're ready for this healing now. I have put up here on the screen this Ho'oponopono prayer. This is a beautiful Hawaiian prayer. Maybe some of you are aware of this. Maybe you've worked with this before. I am sorry. Please forgive me. Thank you. I love you. You repeat these mantras again and again and again. There are beautiful guided meditations that you can find for free on YouTube. Just put in Ho'oponopono and you will find many different ones. Some are set to music, some are just the mantra. You can just repeat it to yourself if you want, again and again and again. You can write it in your journal. This is so powerful. And I can't really explain the power, you just have to do it. Because when you say these words, when you say these phrases, so much comes up. So many people come into your awareness throughout your life. Your own self. Forgiveness around your own self. There are people and situations from your past that are going to come up when you repeat these phrases, when you say this beautiful prayer. And it is so healing. I can't even explain it into words. And so I hope that you give it a try and you lean into whatever and whoever comes up for you. Do this on the solstice. Do this at the full moon. This Capricorn full moon, yes, Capricorn is about the structures and the systems in your life. It is about self-discipline. It can be about tough love, so you want to watch that. Maybe that's one of your core wounds, is the tough love that you received. Capricorn is all of those things. Capricorn is your work ethic. Maybe that's a core wound. Maybe your father worked all the time and didn't have time for you. Maybe you internalize that. Maybe you're very tough on yourself. Maybe you have an imbalance in your own life between work and home life. That's what this axis is about. And so all of these things could be coming up for you. Just trust whatever it is for you. Because the Capricorn full moon is shining a full, bright light on this so you can heal it. So you can heal it. The mother and the father, we're ready to heal these wounds. We're ready to not perpetuate them with anyone, whether that is your own children, if you have them, or in any relationship really in your life. It doesn't matter if you have kids or not, right? So you will bleed on anyone in your life if you have not healed those deep core wounds. So this is really, really big, big energy. It's beautiful energy. We are ready for it. We are ready for the healing at this deep core level. And the fact that these energies, the Cancer new moon on July 5th, and then the second Capricorn full moon on July 22nd, and this is the starting point on Thursday, okay? So we're being initiated into this on new levels. And if you're listening to this podcast, then you're going to really be very cognizant of it, right? Super self-aware. And so you can set these intentions. And so whatever level you're at in this healing, we're going to be working with these energies through July because we're ready to really get to a whole new level of healing and move forward. And to me, this is just, it's beautiful. It's really, really beautiful. We're here for it, guys. We are here for this. We're ready for it. Trust whatever is coming up for you. Lean into it. Allow it to flow through you. And just know that that moon is going to be staying in Capricorn through the weekend. Okay? Even into early next week. Beautifully, though, on Saturday, the moon is going to be across the sky from Venus and Mercury, and also getting supportive energy from Mars. So those are our three personal planets, right? Mars is our vitality, the masculine energy where we want to take action on something, right? We want to make decisions about something and take the next steps. And then, of course, Venus is our value, our self-worth, our self-love, and how we relate to others. And Mercury is our thoughts and our communication and our beliefs. And so we're getting a lot of energy from the personal planets beaming to the moon. And she is beaming down to us in Capricorn, saying we are ready to build those new structures on a very personal level in our lives because of all the healing that we've been doing. The moon is also squaring the North Node on Saturday. And to me, with all the personal planet energy, I read that as you are really taking those next steps and that action on your destined path forward. I mean, that is just magnificent. So, Sunday, wrapping up this week, the moon still in Capricorn, still a lot of that same energy from Saturday, still playing out. And just know that this is a big week of dissolving, of letting go. And that might mean that a lot of the old wounding, the fears, the realizations around that comes up to the surface, but it's to let it go, right? It's to let it go with forgiveness. And so it is helping to align us to our destined path forward from a much more healed place. It doesn't mean, right, that those wounds from the mother or the father are just gone, right? That they're just completely gone. But it means we have incredible awareness that we are no longer just like being thrown around in that boat on the stormy sea, right? At the beck and call of the wind, right? And the waves. No, we have awareness. I have this beautiful quote up that I always have up here on the slides of empowerment. Empowerment is neither a victim avenged nor an asserted will. It comes from a place of deep love and contentment, and from there all things are possible. From Anita Invariardi. A deep place of love and contentment. And you can achieve that when you begin to heal those old wounds, because you know you came here to do that. And you can forgive. And you can feel that inner sense of empowerment. That is what is on tap for us here. It is beautiful. So I'm going to wrap it up. You know, the sun on the solstice on Thursday is open up to receiving that light and that enlightenment. The sun's rays burning away all of those old wounds where you didn't get what you needed, how you weren't nurtured and loved and supported in the ways that your inner child needed. Because guess what? You can give all of that to yourself now, and that's what we're all meant to learn. And as the moon is so big and magnificent and beautiful in her fullness on Thursday night, try to get out there and catch a glimpse of her, because she is also illuminating for us that depth, that emotional depth that we have within us, that Capricorn sea goat coming up from the depths of the ocean, right? And that you have a deep well within you. You don't need to find it outside of yourself. You have it within. And so let us lean into these beautiful energies of the sun and the moon, the mother and the father within us. We are the new healed ancestors, moving forward, creating the healing within so that we can live in a more healed world, on a more healed planet, in a more healed humanity. It is a very exciting time to be here. We have chosen this incarnation. Let us never forget that. We have chosen our parents. We have chosen our experiences. We have chosen this journey. And to me, that is empowering. And I am so excited to be here now at this time with you all. I want to thank you again for tuning in to my Mooncast, to talking about these energies. Thank you for your energy and your time. Thank you for your likes and your subscribes. Thank you for any comments that you will leave. It really does help the channel to be found by others who can be supported. And I am wishing you so much love and healing. I'm wishing you a beautiful week ahead. And I will see you all soon under the moon. Bye-bye for now.